Hi everyone. We'll try and keep it short and simple like the previous group. We had a really animated discussion and we covered various examples from different categories, different mediums, urban, rural, digital, non-digital, and I think we have some interesting as well as controversial points to share with you. So one of the things that we unanimously agreed on was the fact that the thing that really defines influencer marketing and makes it unique is the authenticity and the credibility that is attached to influencer marketing. So let's not confuse it with celebrity endorsement, or let's not try and compare it with any traditional form of marketing and advertising. The whole idea, as my colleague very beautifully put, was let's not join a club which we have very easy access to. So let's talk to people which create that exclusivity because of their expertise, their knowledge, their passion, and therefore let's try and identify and use influencers in their true capacity of providing credible and authentic information. So I think the big thing that defines the right kind of influencers is they're authentic, they're credible, and therefore you should use them for what they're meant to be and not try to confuse it with any other form of marketing. In that context, we realized that one of the best approaches to make influencer marketing successful is what is called the jab, jab, hook approach. And why don't you take the lead in explaining this concept, which is completely his brainchild. And I'm going to use it and not tell that I learned it in this forum.
So I fundamentally believe a lot of money and effort is spent on influencer marketing, and you activate influencers, but you don't own the community. So if you're doing 500 blogs a month, you're getting a lot of backlinks, but that's it. You don't own a community. So every time you need to activate, you need to spend some media money. So jab jab hook is you create a community, you define an audience, so whether it's women or it's social media influencers, or it could even be, if you're a rural marketer, the heads of panchayats. Once you create a community, you keep feeding them content, which is jab, 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 and then you serve them an offer which is a hook. If the community is owned by you and you're constantly engaging with the influencers, and I thought the iXugo example was brilliant. Hardly 15 seconds of product window, but it was very relevant to people. It was very contextual. So once you own a community and you keep jabbing them with a lot of useful content, you will get a chance to create one hook to knock out the influencers environment. That's the concept.
Right. And I think what we all also realize as a group is that influencer marketing always existed. It's not something new that we have stumbled upon now. For centuries it has existed in our country, and the whole craze about digital marketing has actually given it a fresh breath of life, and people are looking at it differently now. So Amit, why don't you share some examples of how influencer marketing always existed and how in the rural landscape you used it in a very different way?
Thanks, Kanika. As a group, we all have discussed influential marketing. So we just came out with a lot of brainstorming went in. So if you look at the influence marketing, there was spiritual growth since time immemorial. Spiritual gurus have been influencers. There have not been such mediums available which we have today. They were not there at that time. Still, the thought spread very fast. How did it happen? Second, the size of digital market. Everybody is talking about the digital influencing. But what is the size of digital market in India? Internet penetration is hardly 8 to 10%. What about the balance 90%? So what we did, we went to villages. We got hold of cooperatives. Each cooperative has close to 25 to 30,000 members. So we got together 3-4 cooperatives. So we have got 100,000 people with us. We organized local melas. Then we got the local regional channel airing it. We got the local regional newspaper airing it, writing about it, because that is what they understand. They don't understand Hindi, they don't understand English. And this is 65% of India, officially now. So we did a lot of experiments, and it definitely gave us wonderful results. That is one side of it. Second side of it, the region that we belong to. There is almost $430 billion worth of goods imported into India. That means we are a consumption market. Majority of these goods that are being imported into India are finished goods. That means a lot of influencers are required for people to buy these goods. Whether it's Reebok, it's not manufactured in India. It's imported from Indonesia or Vietnam. Am I right, Kanika? So most of the products that we are wearing it today are imported. So we would need a lot of influencers to buy these imported products because Indian population has never heard about these products. Because these brands will not be top 10 brands who would be entering India. These would be their SMEs of their countries who would be coming into India. So influence marketing is going to play a very vital role. I'll pass it on to Brijeet if he has anything to add on.
I have an example in terms of the oxymoronic association of marketing I have with, which is news. I work with NDTV. But we often have used this in terms of cause marketing, in terms of targeting a very elusive demo, which is the youth, who are notoriously kind of elusive to television. So schools programs and the way they've been used to basically disseminate information on public service, whether you take pollution or anti-smoking. So those are actually communities in Transvaal that have always existed, which can, I think the examples from the digital world can be retrofitted and some of it unleashed on the ground to look at the 80%, 90% of India which is still not accessed by digital media.
Right. So I'll just basically summarize, that particular point because it's an important one. I think what we are trying to say is that while there is a very clear definition of who is an influencer in the digital landscape and how to use those influencers, and while there is a large set of service providers who are aiding the entire process of identifying, connecting, and measuring results out of influencers who exist in the digital landscape, the question to all of you is that what happens that when your target audience is not regular in their digital consumption? So how do we identify, service, connect, and measure influencers outside the digital landscape is something that we marketers must consider. Couple of examples that came up in our group discussion was about experts in different fields, be it food or be it running or any other such categories, or doctors and school programs, etc. But these people may or may not be digitally active. So how do you tap into them, connect with them on a regular basis is a challenge, and the challenge was one of the questions which we are trying to sort of answer here. That is a challenge which definitely needs an answers, and I would urge people in this room who are service providers in terms of aiding the whole influencer marketing process, do look outside the digital landscape and come back to marketers with solutions as to how we can tap into the influencer community outside the digital landscape. So anything?
Yeah, I would just add, one should not go overboard while going for influence market. One should have how to avoid pitfall strategy in digital marketing. Because there have been a lot of instances when it has gone backfired for the organization. So first and foremost, one needs to have a blue book kind of thing, how to avoid pitfall for each medium. Because mediums are increasing every day. We earlier had blogs, then Twitter, then Facebook, now Instagram, Pinterest. Mediums are increasing every day, and for each medium, the influencer is different. So the pitfall strategy also has to be in place.
I'd just like to add to that, I think what we spoke about, the whole credibility piece is very important because the consumer is very smart today. So how are we really building credibility, how authentic is the influencer? What is the value add we are adding to the consumer through using influencer marketing? And I think it was brilliantly shown through that video. I think that's very, very critical when we use influencer marketing.
So Vatsal is signaling me, and hence I'll just wrap up. So the last thing from our side is it's a spectrum. On one end of the spectrum are celebrities, your top-notch celebrities. On the other side are the bloggerati, the twitterati, and the experts. There is a huge gap in the middle, and I think as experts in this room, we must try to identify and address that gap, and which we all agree is our next challenge in influencer marketing. On that note, thank you.